Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask Clerk Domingo to call the roll.
Councilmember Barnes. Reed. Here. Brown.
Here.
Waller.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Brown.
Here. Are there any comments this evening from the council? Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share a concern with one of my community people in my community in the 4th Precinct. There was wanting me to pass on, like when we do votes and it's not all of us together, and they would like to know like how many does it need a vote needs to pass, and if it passes, they would like for you to explain to them what just happened if it passes, and also the same for if it fails, like just a general summary of what just happened whenever we vote, if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember French.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a really great success story unique to Albion. Our Albion AmeriCorps Vista member, Emily McClelland, who's in charge of the, works for Star, or is appointed to Star Commonwealth and works with the Harrington Elementary School. In the fall, she, with some other Vista members and some folks in the community, created the weekend food program. It was supported by Albion Innovation, and what it does is it brings on Friday to 85 children at Harrington Elementary a bag of food for the weekend, which includes a box of cereal and a container of protein of some sort, whether it be tuna or chicken or something like that, a couple of cans of vegetables, some snacks, and some water. Albion Innovation closed its doors at the end of the year, and so we were in need of funding. And so the Vistas were brainstorming, and Marquetta Frost heard about the need and connected with her sub-site supervisor, Alfreda Dysart-Drake, who, as the director of the Albion Volunteer Service Organization, connected with her board, who authorized her to offer $2,250 in funds to support this program. So that lead gift is providing funding for the half of the remaining need for the school year. Since that gift, we've received funds from local citizens in support, as well as the Albion branch of the NAACP. And we are working with local and regional philanthropies to continue the search for funding to fund not only the balance of this year, but also for next year. And I just found out today that we anticipate that Bread of Life Ministries may take over the management of the program moving forward, which is a goal of all AmeriCorps Vista initiatives, that it be a sustainable part of the community once the Vistas finish their year of service. So I've been asked by my Vista team to say that donations to support our 85 children this year, and for the children next year, checks can be made to Star Commonwealth with the weekend food program written in the memo line. Star will continue to be the fiduciary for this program. And I want to personally thank Ms. Alfreda Dysart-Drake for her lead gift and for her taking the initiative to support the children of Albion at Harrington Elementary. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Reed.
I sat down here this evening and I saw this envelope laying here, and it says, "Dear community members, in honor of this year's MLK Day of Service, we, the students of Marshall High School, are writing notes of thanks to those who serve others in our community, state, and nation. Your work makes a difference, and I would personally like to thank you for all that you do. Your service has inspired me to do the same." Not that this is talking about me, but it's good to see. I know, and this is from Lorenz Hill. I know him, he's a young man. I think he's in the 12th grade this year. And it's good to know that they are targeting, they're watching what's being done and preparing to do their stuff. It's very encouraging. So to Lorenz, thank you very much. And to the rest of the kids who are doing this, I think that's a great thing for them to be doing for the community and for themselves.
Thank you. Are there any further comments from council this evening? Okay. Seeing that, we will move forward to city manager's report.
City Manager Cheryl Mitchell is on vacation. I'm Dr. Stacy Levin, Assistant City Manager, filling in for Dr. Mitchell this evening. I'd like to begin by congratulating Lauren Freeman. She's the Community Planning AmeriCorps Vista assigned to City Hall. She was awarded the January 2018 City of Albion Employee of the Month. We truly appreciate your hard work, and thank you so much, and congratulations. Please be advised that the next meeting on the updating of the zoning ordinance will take place on Thursday, March 15th at 7 p.m. in the mayor's office. The meeting is open to the public. AmeriCorps Vista member Andrew Texel is working on a draft resolution and bylaws for council to consider that would authorize the establishment of neighborhood planning councils based on voting precincts. A new deputy clerk treasurer position has been posted and applications are being accepted through Friday, February 23rd, 5 p.m. Job descriptions for code enforcement positions and a clerical position for the city manager's office are also being finalized. Please be advised that due to the President's Day holiday observance, the next regularly scheduled council meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 20th at 7 p.m. This Saturday, February 10th, the City of Albion's Department of Public Safety and Recreation Department, in partnership with the Greater Albion Chamber of Commerce, will hold the 28th Annual Cardboard Classic Sled Race. Due to weather, the event was moved to this Saturday, and the snow forecast looks great. There will be a sled design competition as well as downhill races. Registration begins at 10 a.m. at the Victory Park Sledding Hill. For more information, folks can visit the city's webpage or the Albion Cardboard Classic Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to presentations. Presentation A, or item A under presentations, the Oaklawn Hospital Benefit Auction. Sarah Jeffrey.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Councilmember Reed for inviting me to present tonight. Oaklawn has their largest fundraiser coming up on March 10th at 5:30 at Firekeepers Casino. And all of our proceeds go to our mission, which is providing personal, accessible, and high-quality care to all of the communities that Oaklawn is in. I personally work in the development office at Oaklawn, and we are always reaching out to the communities that we're involved in, asking for feedback, concerns, questions. We're always open if you have any questions at all. So just to kind of go over the event, our doors open at 5:30. You can purchase tickets online as of right now. The silent auction kicks off anywhere between 5:30 and 6 that evening. We have already about 200 packages set to go now, more coming in daily. And then we also have a live auction that evening at 8:30, and we have about 10 items, larger items, different vacations, like an England trip. Hodges Jewelers donated a diamond necklace, but there's various items for that live auction as well. Belcher Auction Company is going to be participating in that. And then at 9 o'clock, when the live auction closes, we also announce our raffle winners. We are raffling off 4 different 50-inch TVs. Thank you to Bluefish. And we also have King Jewelers is also submitting a raffle. We have entertainment throughout the evening. We have an MC lined up to kind of go around and talk to different community members, different doctors that are present there that evening, and kind of MC the night. And then we have a strolling dinner as well. This year we're going to have a mac and cheese bar. We're going to have some beef and salmon sliders. And then we also have dessert, which is going to be a cupcake bar this year. And the theme this year is superheroes, so we encourage everybody to dress up in their favorite superhero costume, whether that's just a t-shirt or if it's a full outfit, we encourage all of it. And otherwise, it's casual dress for the evening. As far as donors and sponsorship, like I said, it is our largest fundraiser. We have many different options. If you know of a business or an individual that wants to donate towards the hospital, we have in-kind donations or item donations, packages, even if it's just a gift card, we can package it with something else perhaps. We also have sponsorship opportunities, and you can see the various levels there. Anything under $500 we usually use to purchase other items for the event. So what I'm here tonight is to invite everybody here in the room, all the council members, Mayor Brown. We'd love to have you at the event, and it's currently $40 a person until March 8th, and then it's $50 a person. If you go to our auction website, you can purchase tickets, you can view packages that are up for sale, our live auction items, and everything like that. You can also call our development team, and we also have various development council members. Lynn Reed is one of those. We recently welcomed aboard, and we're happy to have you and excited to have you part of the team. And that is all I have. So thank you so much, and I'll leave some invitations and pens here for everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to item B under presentations, introduction of French Chef Frederick, I don't know, what's the last name? Tenley.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Slater, representing Sister City Committee, and I'm here tonight to present to you Chef Frédéric Thierry from France. He has the Chateau de Nanteuil, which I think Scott's going to try to bring up a picture of it. In France, they call it a chambre d'hôte. Here in America, we call it a bed and breakfast. And he has 30 years of experience in preparing marvelous food. One thing that's different about his bed and breakfast is he serves dinner too. Let me tell you how he comes to be here in Albion. We're so grateful. Our sister city is all about relationships. So a year ago we were to have a chef, and that all got canceled at the last minute. But our good friend that some of you know, Claude Jamati, who is the mayor of Bailly, he said, I know just the person that you need to have in Albion. Claude Jamati has a summer home in the Loire Valley that belonged to his grandparents. And Chef Frédéric's Chateau de Nanteuil is very close to Jamati's place, and so they became friends. And so Mayor Jamati says, well, this is who you need to have in Albion for your chef dinner. He has been here a week, absolutely marvelous. He didn't even get to Albion before he was in a restaurant buying food. So his first day was at Albion College. He worked with the students. He worked with the Bon Appetit and so on. He prepared a dish at the International House. His second day was at Harrington School. He met with the students. He prepared food, and they got to taste something with a French theme. The next day, he spent preparing a benefit dinner served at the Food Hub, which was for raising money for our next kids trip to France. And I see that Zariah Kemp walked in here a little while ago. She went to France on the last trip, and she was one of the helpers at the dinner at the Food Hub. And then on Saturday, he was at Lewis Chapel. This was an event for the whole community, and it was free, and he prepared desserts. He had a favorite cake. In fact, it was Zariah's favorite dessert, a chocolate cake with creme anglaise, and we also had crepes. And then on Sunday, at the Isman House, we did an appetizer type thing, sort of in honor of Super Bowl Sunday. And today he had a day off, I think visited Detroit.
Yes!
And I imagine tomorrow he'll sleep on the airplane all the way home. So we are so grateful to have him in Albion. Just wonderful. Thank you so much. Did we get it? No, it's okay.
I don't know if this is it or not.
His chateau was built in the 1700s. It's been in his family since then, and it's just grand. Oh, sure. He would like to say something.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll start with a little word in French because I'm French. Merci beaucoup à toutes les personnes que j'ai rencontrées à Albion. C'était formidable.
He said, thank you to everybody who is welcome to Albion. It's really formidable.
Yeah. I spent a really nice week with all together, even in the college, explaining to some students and also producing food with Joseph, that chef. And I think I will come back when the brewery will be. I'll come back with a pastry chef. So thank you to you all, and great success to your city in the future. And I'll tell Claude Jean-Marty, the manager of Bailly, spent a good time, and it was really great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Item C under presentations, Linda Lanou for the Financial Empowerment Fair.
Thank you. Welcome, or good evening, City Council and Dr. Levin and Mayor Brown. I am just sharing the highlights of the event. There's a lot of information, so if you're interested, I encourage everyone to go to amrcp.org, where much more details are available. But I have the clicker. So this is a picture of one of the workshops. This was the home ownership and mortgage lending at the beautiful Ludington Center, which really made the event. But there were 2 other workshops, and all 3 were offered throughout the afternoon 3 times. So we had, I would say, at least 10 to 15 people there the entire time to get all the information. And essentially what the event was about was Homestead has a lot of resources and programs that they wanted the community to know about. So they reached out to STAR based on the work of the Albion Marshall Resilient Communities Project, which, let me rewind myself, I am Linda Lanou, the project coordinator of the Albion Marshall Resilient Communities Project. And so we connected with the Build Albion AmeriCorps Vista initiative, which is how I became the project coordinator, based on their work serving the community, and we were able to get 12 different organizations to create a fair that offered their programs and resources as well. So this next photo kind of shows it. You can't really see it very well with this. This shows it better. So we had, I think, estimated around 100 people throughout the afternoon show up, which we were very pleased with considering it was the first time. We had catering by Bon Appetit and also childcare on site and transportation. So we were very grateful and happy to provide those things to the community to break down some of the barriers that we know a lot of the different organizations struggle with when getting people to come. We also wanted to share, that didn't show up, but basically there are a number of other resources still available in the community. One are the credit management workshops coming up on Tuesday, February 13th and February 22nd, and that information is available on Facebook and on the website. Also, Community Action is providing financial empowerment sessions one-on-one as part of their services offered at 101 North Albion Street on Thursdays, and those are by appointment. And Albion Interfaith Ministries also offers a number of informational sessions. So those are ongoing resources available. And then also as a result of this event, Homestead has been invited to host an event on, or not host, but be a part of an event on elder abuse for all of Calhoun County with Community Action. And they've also had someone come in to apply to purchase a home for rental opportunities. So those were 2 exciting things that came out of it. We want to thank all of the different people that were involved in making this possible, including the participants and the organizations, First Baptist churches who offer the transportation. We had a number of people or organizations and businesses provide prizes for the drawing, the child care providers, the catering, and then you as council members who shared the event on Facebook and helped promote it. And then we also are providing certificates of appreciation. No, first, are there any questions?
Right. Hand them out, just hand it to her.
From the council.
Councilmember French. Thank you. Linda, you said that there's programming at 101 North Albion Street. Is that going to be at the Fort Senior Center, or is that?
The Community Action operates out of that building as well. So they have services, emergency services, but they're also offering financial empowerment sessions in conjunction with that.
So it's on the north side of the building, not the Senior Center.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yep.
Are there any questions from council? Well, are you?
Yep, and then the next thing is the following sponsors. I want to recognize each of them individually for all of the things that they put into this. So first would be, and when I call you, if you could come if you're here, Homestead. Mr. Evans provided a ton of time to planning this, and then his staff for being there and facilitating the workshops and the catering and all the different aspects of the event. Star Commonwealth put in a lot of resources in the logistics, the child care, marketing, printing. Albion, NAACP, they helped from the beginning. I think Mrs. Davis is here representing. Ian Stewart, sorry, I'm rushing through this. Ian Stewart's here with Star. Mrs. Davis is here representing the NAACP. They provided financial literacy workshops. I wasn't sure if we could get a picture of all the sponsors together with the mayor. That was what I had in mind. Okay, NAACP. Troy Case is not available, so Andy's going to be representing Albion College and the Build Albion AmeriCorps Vista initiative. We're recognizing the AmeriCorps Vista initiative for their planning, their surveys, all of the different resources they provided in Albion College for using the Ludington Center. So if Kathy could get a photo with all of you. And I'm happy to answer any more questions anytime if anyone has any. Thank you.
Are there any questions for council? Okay. Thank you. We will move forward, it's a public hearing, to public comment on the agenda. Persons addressing the City Council this evening shall limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. We ask that you observe proper decorum and speak only to agenda items, and please state your name and address. Are there any public comments, or is there any public comments this evening on agenda items?
Good evening. My name is Travis Kokenaver. I'm an attorney with the Cannabis Legal Group of 520 North Main Street, Royal Oak, Michigan. As you might guess, based on our law firm, I'm here to speak on agenda item 11A. First, we'd like to thank your community for considering a draft ordinance, and based on a lot of ordinances we've had to work with, it's one of the better ones, and it's very well written. We come from with a client interested in investing a significant amount of money in a potential location. We understand that there's no guarantee until you're selected by a community, but we do have a thought we'd like to share and request of the community if you do decide to opt into the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act program. Your community is considering limiting the number of licenses, and we certainly respect that. But I'd like to echo some comments of the Albion Economic Development Corporation. Effectively, what we're requesting is instead of limiting the number of licenses your community allows, if you do like to limit the number of businesses in your community, we would request that you limit the number of locations instead. Limiting the number of licenses, specifically a cultivation license, makes it difficult for a business to grow if they happen to be successful. There's a concept under the Facilities Licensing Act called stacking, where if you're a cultivation facility, specifically a Class C grow, you can obtain multiple licenses for that license type. And as these businesses come to your community, and if they are successful, not giving the not having the authority to grow into those licenses and potentially fully utilize your community space might not allow you to be a successful business. So coming from my attorney's perspective and reading probably hundreds of these draft ordinances, everything else in there I see is very well thought out. But if you do want these businesses to succeed, I would strongly encourage you consider that change. Effectively, it's difficult industry to be in. As you might be aware, there are several challenges for cannabis in operating in a highly regulated market. And what we try to avoid when we make critiques to communities is you don't want to arbitrarily bottleneck the businesses in your community, regardless of their industry. You want those businesses, if they are here, to be as successful as possible, because that's going to provide the most opportunity to your community as well. So while you're reviewing your ordinance tonight on agenda item 11A, if you look to the limitations, specifically where you are limiting the number of licenses, while I'm very biased, but I'm personally against any caps. If you do want to limit, I would strongly encourage, as I said, limiting the number of approved locations, not the approved number of licenses, at least specifically for cultivation licenses. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on tonight's agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. Wayne Arnold, 906 Hall Street. Mayor, you may recall back in September, before all the chaos with Ms. Mitchell's resignation and everything, I brought to your attention that I thought that it was a lack of integrity on the Board of Review. I pointed out to you that there was an instance where two people with identical circumstances, one white and one black, one was gave treatment as far as relief on their taxes, and one wasn't. I brought this to your attention several times. I didn't want to bring it back up because of all the kerfuffle going on, but I see now that one is up for reappointment. I would say elect a whole new board. If the integrity has been compromised, put some brand new people on there and see how they do. I would say I wouldn't reform any of those appointments. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further public comment this evening on the agenda?
Hello, and thank you for having us. My name is Justin Fisher, and this is Dave Koistra. We're here to address some more item regarding agenda item 11A. We recently have been in talks with the Albion Economic Development Corporation, and we actually purchased a 29,000 square foot building with the intention of you guys opting into the medical marijuana ordinance. We just want to urge you guys to consider the possibility to allow provisioning centers just because of the extra revenue that it would bring to the city. We've started off with 29,000 square feet, and we would love the opportunity to expand here. We've been looking all over the state to consider different towns and Albions where we settled on. So we'd like to work with you guys more going forward to kind of expand on that and hopefully, bring in some revenue for the city. And that's about all we have. If there, anything?
Yeah, no, that's about it. It's a good place to, real estate's affordable, and it's just a good spot where we can come in and get something ripping. So, looking forward to it.
We'll follow up with each of you individually after. But
thank you. Can you, for the clerk's records, could you give an address?
Oh, yeah. 275 Preservation Drive, Ada, Michigan. And my name is Dave.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Are there any other public comments this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move forward to consent calendar approval of regular session minutes, January 22nd, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay. That passes. Items for individual discussion. Item A, request approval first reading ordinance 2018-01, an ordinance to authorize medical marijuana facilities licensing and regulations and to create Article 5 of Chapter 22 of the Albion Code of Ordinances. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and seconded. Would you like to?
Sure. The council will have to excuse me. My voice has been going out all day. I made the mistake of playing with my sister's twin kids for the weekend, and they're like little petri dishes. So right off the bat, just a small but necessary technical change. This was my omission. I forgot that February 19th is President's Day, so our second reading is going to have to be on Tuesday the 20th, which will make, so we'll have to make that change on the back, and the effective date will subsequently be March 20th, 30 days out. We've gone through this at great length. The only thing that has been raised as a potential question is section 22-203. That's about 4 pages in, regarding the caps on the various facilities. You have a memo in your packet from the Economic Development Corporation that proposes 2 things. One is no cap. The other is, rather than having a cap 5 per category, just have an overall cap on the total number of facilities. I've spoken with some of the department heads, and I've kind of given this some thought. My advice to the council would not be to eliminate the cap completely, for the simple reason that this is going to be very new to the city. Certainly for the first year, it's going to be difficult for the various departments to anticipate what kind of workload increase this is going to cause, whether it's the public safety department, planning department, my office, manager's office, and finance department. As you're aware, some of those departments only have 1 or 2 employees. You know, if we want to add licenses after a certain period of time because we find out it's manageable and there's a demand for those licenses, we can always amend the ordinance to increase. My suggestion, if you recall, was it's always easier to add than to take away. You know, if we were to have, for example, 40 facilities, and hypothetically, if they all got used, and if we found out it was just too overwhelming for the city to take away those licenses as opposed to adding them, could cause more problems in the long run. So my suggestion would be, if the council decides that an increase is warranted, I would, my preference or my advice to the council would be to go with the second option and just put a cap at 20 overall licenses rather than per category. I think that will still keep it in a realm of reasonability for the city staff and address the demand needs that are anticipated by the EDC. Other than that, all the other changes that were requested by council, have been integrated, particularly the distance requirements from schools, places of religious worship, and public parks have all been integrated, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do have one question. There was a reference made during public comments about stacking, but I remember was there a state administrative change there?
No, the admin rules basically say that multiple Class C licenses can be stacked.
Okay. Councilmember French.
I think I would agree with our city attorney that option B, as presented by the EDC, would be a useful one. I have not heard from anyone other than growers, so I think I'd be okay. Would you consider that a friendly amendment, or we have to bring this back?
We need to go by the book, but this doesn't include the change, though.
Well, I mean, you can certainly vote on it tonight with any change, and I'll just add that change and send it to the clerk, as long as you vote on the change.
Yeah, but we can't change the second reading.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah. Is there, so basically just to remove the specifics of what types of...
But to say the cap will be 20 licenses in the city of Albion, but not designate how they should be given.
Exactly.
So the way, my suggestion would be to change the wording is that the second line, no, excuse me, the second sentence in subparagraph A under 2203 would read, the city clerk, after approval from city council, may issue up to 20 licenses for the following types of medical marijuana facilities, and we would just list the facilities and not have the numbers.
Okay. So is that a motion to amend?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. Second. Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment to basically have 20 licenses, a limit on 20 licenses with no, I guess, attachment to any type of entity. Okay, seeing no discussion, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. So now we're back to the main motion with the amendment to approve the first reading of this ordinance. Is there any further discussion or any further amendments? Okay. Okay, seeing none, we'll have a
Motion? So moved.
Well, it was already a motion.
It's already
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the floor.
because we're back to the main motion. Yeah. So is there any, seeing no further discussion, we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Unanimous approval of the first reading of the miracle marijuana ordinance. Item B, discussion of the 2018 council goal setting sessions. Do you want to? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. In April 2017, Council adopted their goals for 2017 through August 2018. Two items that require Council's action would be to update the city motto and the city's vision and mission statement. Might there be a date that Council can set to revisit these goals?
Yeah. So, did you have? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. So basically, at the last meeting, I brought the council goal-setting session up for discussion on this agenda with the hopes that we could set dates and commit to those dates and start doing the work that we need to do to set our goals for 2018. So.
Okay. Let's see. What we can do, rather than, I guess, haggle over dates right now, if the manager's office can just send out like a doodle poll and we can set one, and I'll probably say what, towards, maybe like, could we do, well, we'll do it, maybe if we can, like, shoot towards the end of February, it'd be helpful, the earlier the better, but, Councilmember Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. As long as we get started before the end of the month,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. So I guess that's understanding. If we could send a doodle poll for that, I'd appreciate it. Okay. We will move on to appointments. Item C, request approval to board and commissions, and I guess appointments and reappointments. Holly Zableski, reappointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Richard Lewin, reappointment to Board of Review, and John Williams, reappointment to Building Board of Appeals. And Councilmember Barnes is not here, so we'll do those individually, because I know he did that last time. Okay. So is there a motion to approve? This is for Mrs. Zableski. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the reappointment of Holly Zableski to the Zoning Board of Appeals? Okay. Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. Could you explain to the community why Ms. Holly would be a good candidate? That didn't get to see the application that was.
Okay. Basically, what I try to do in appointments is to balance, I guess, experience. People who've served on boards for a number of years who kind of know the ins and outs with making sure that balance that with expertise and also with making sure, for example, we wouldn't want to, in the case of, let's say, a planning commission that's all in one precinct. So it's basically trying to get the right fit for these boards, and Ms. Zableski served on there before, as have each of the other individuals who are being reappointed. And then with a couple of these boards, they usually only meet when there's actually like business or like an appeal. So, if someone's willing to serve, I'm willing to ask them to continue to serve. So that's the situation with these board appointments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other, is there any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote for Holly Zaleski.
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes?
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Richard Lewin, reappointment to the Board of Review. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question. Were there other applicants for this Board of Review seat?
I think he was the sole one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I will say that I did take the comment that I heard tonight about that. We were in the process of planning a meeting to discuss those issues, and we will discuss that. So I have not forgotten. You're right. We were sidetracked. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes?
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. And finally, John Williams, reappointment to the Building Board of Appeals. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing no discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes?
Spicer,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Item D, request approval resolution 2018-05, a resolution to approve the Albion Department of Public Services purchase and financing of the 2012 Vector truck.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Evening, Council. Jim Leonardson, Director of Public Services. You should have had in your packet Vector truck purchase options. Basically what that is a breakdown of the amortization schedule of the three financing institutions that responded. You'll see there's been some corrections made to make things, to compare basically apples to apples. Yes, in a summation, we have Chemical Bank, seems to be annual cost-wise our best option here. They had the best percentage rate overall. We're looking at a 5-year total payment period with a 3.39% interest through Chemical Bank. I would recommend at this point that that would be your option number one.
So one question I have, so in the footnote, which is for the trade-in allowance, did we, for the lease option, did we ask them if that could be a part of it, or what can you?
As far as the trade-in portion?
Yeah. Yes.
What we did basically was, it was offered in the initial talks. It was not a part contained within the lease option itself. So, as you can see in the footnote, basically what we did was we would take that off, pay that $35,000 down, which would make apples to apples, basically, with that trade-in allowance.
So yes, if that's included, and the net purchase price goes around $10,000, is that having an effect on the annual cost? Would that go down for the initial?
No, the annual cost is figured with that.
Okay. Is it figured with the 10,000 trade-in?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
We use the 210, and then basically it's not going to drop that cost much, or that annual cost much at all.
Okay.
As you can see, it's reflected in the final analysis under the budget impact.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. So, just to make this plain, with Chemical Bank's estimate, the numbers from Chemical Bank, we're looking at just under $36,000 a year for 5 years, correct?
You're looking at a total annual cost of $35,922.24 per year.
Right, for 5 years.
I'm sorry?
For 5 years.
For 5 years, correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make that plain for the public.
That is with
to
that
understand.
35,000 put down.
Okay. So, okay, thank you.
But I guess the question I had is just with the I know chemicals cheaper, but the homestead, like how is that a lower annual cost than the lease if it has the higher percentage there?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Mayor.
So you have a lower annual cost, or excuse me, lower annual cost, but has the higher interest rate. But then in the dealer option, but you said you are including the $10,000 trade-in.
Correct.
Okay. So how is the lease more expensive, I guess?
I'm sorry?
I'm just saying, how is the lease more expensive?
The 10,000 basically was deducted above to drop that number down to the 35,000 to make it comparable. Does that make sense?
Yes, and so I was asking,
Okay.
but you said you did or didn't do that for the lease? Well, I'm saying in the section where you have the trade-in allowance,
Right.
there's the NA and there's the footnote. So you're not including the 10,000 there?
Correct.
Okay. But if you did include that,
It's basically,
Yeah.
it was done as a fair advantage to everybody to do it that way. So we're comparing apples to apples across the board.
Okay.
That's the way we did it. Tom Mead and I looked at it together, basically set it up, and that's what he felt would be the best approach.
okay.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you. So, Jim, so you're saying that if you went
I'm sorry.
with
Go ahead.
the lease, that there is no trade-in allowance? There would not be, essentially.
It wasn't accounted for within the lease itself. So what we did basically was try to equate for that and show the difference to make a comparison that was fair for everybody across the board. Does that make sense? Not so much?
No.
No, I guess I'm trying to say is if you include it,
Okay.
then the net price for all three are $200,000.
And you take that 10,000 over 5 years, correct?
Yeah.
Which is gonna drop that, I'm not gonna do the math in my head right here, but, as I understand it, again, in talking with Tom and looking at the numbers, it was a fair comparison. Lease option, they are willing to give us that 10,000, but it wasn't incorporated into the initial paperwork. So what we will do then is drop, once we get that 10,000 from them, if we were gonna go that route, we would drop that initial down payment down to 35,000. So it was comparable for everybody.
Okay.
So that we could run the numbers in a more equitable fashion.
Yeah, I guess to me,
Does that make sense?
Well, no, it would have been helpful even, I guess, if you had the, dealer lease option with and without the trade-in.
Right.
Or, excuse me, the lease trade-in allowance. Councilmember French.
So I'm looking at the amount financed, and they're
It's
all
lower, yeah.
the same. So even if you do the trade-in of 10,000, the net purchase price to equate it is still $200,000, less the down payment. And that's where I see the 10,000 coming in that's different, right? So that 45,147 is 10,000 more than everybody else.
Correct.
And that's the down
Yeah.
payment. So the amount financed is still, for all three places,
Well, it's
the
cheap.
same.
No, it's cheaper a little bit to the lease, though.
Right.
Yeah.
By $147.50. So, or 85 cents. So if you then, so then, to me, what that tells me is that the interest rate becomes a deciding factor in how you finance this, and Chemical Bank is a 0.5 percentage point lower than the other options. And so it stands to reason that Chemical Bank would have a total annual cost that's less than the other two.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Spicer and Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I now understand and I clearly see that. However, I was thinking my eyes were deceiving me that these figures were as should be if we included the allowance. However, I'm okay with the information that you submitted, and I think we can make a decision on this. So,
thank you.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. So, how many Vector trucks do we have again?
I'm sorry?
How many Vector trucks? This is the one that we're trying to replace. Is this the only one? This isn't the only one we have, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We have one currently that will be traded, and we'll get the 2012.
Okay. So, this is for 2012?
Yes.
So at the end of a 5-year lease, wouldn't we be in the position to get like a newer truck?
I'm recommending that we shy away from the 5-year lease and go with the Chemical Bank in an ownership situation after 5 years, for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
In 5 years, and I went with the 5 years so that hopefully in 5 years we'll be back in a position where we can look at purchasing a new one again, and that truck will be worth more than it will be in, let's say, 7 years or 9 years if we finance it out that far. That was my first consideration. And secondly, the first two institutions on the list are local institutions.
Right.
So,
one more question,
okay.
please. Thank you, Mayor. So there's a warranty on here, I'm hoping?
There is a warranty.
Do you know how long?
I believe that was part of the package that I submitted for the previous meeting, as I recall. It's a limited warranty, but I know that the company that we've dealt with, the same company for years and years, and they're normally pretty workable when it comes to that kind of stuff. If it's something that's not our fault and has not been a recognized problem with those trucks, they're normally pretty good about taking care of it. Do I have that in writing? No.
Yeah, I think ultimately my concern is just about kind of walking this tightrope between these are, I guess there's the truck component to it, and there are the other components to it that are actual the Vector part of it. And if something happens to it and it's on a lease, like I said, in both cases you'll have a warranty, but then if something happens, well, once we own it after,
correct,
we foot
I understand
the entire bill for repairs. But then if we're in a lease situation, we'd be up for, I guess, a new or recent model. So
you do have to recognize that you're buying a piece of previously owned equipment.
yeah.
As I provided the information to you initially, the working hours are extremely low on it, the mileage is extremely low on it. We've looked at it. It looks like a really, really good option for the city versus the potential of $350,000+ for a new unit. Obviously, it is a previously owned piece of equipment, and you're taking that chance. But given the scenario within that piece of equipment, I think it's probably our best option at this point. And if we keep the current one, we're looking at $60,000+. That's just in the working mechanisms of the truck. That is not in the chassis or the motor itself of the truck. And again, if something goes wrong with that, that warranty is long gone, and you're going to be putting money into a piece of equipment that's 17 years old. So in my opinion, this is our best option at this point.
So then I guess the last question I have is, you mentioned, so if we do a 5-year purchase and we finance for 5 years, and hopefully what you're saying is the city's in a better financial place where we could just purchase a new one. Is there let's say we repaired what we had right now. How much more time will we be able, do you think it would take us to be able to just afford to get a new one?
I'm sorry, Garrett, I did not hear the question.
Okay, so the one we have right now, just to repair the Vector components to it, that's $60,000. You know, versus the
ballpark.
Yeah, you know, $200,000 for the used one, and then you said like $350 for.
You're looking at $350 plus probably for
a brand new one. So would it make sense to you maybe even to repair what we have and then start to build up towards just getting a brand new one?
No.
Okay.
The truck is in such disrepair at this point that you're not going to get anything out of it basically currently, and to maintain that unit that much longer, to me, I think you're going to be money ahead to spend it on a newer vehicle over a shorter period of time. That, granted, this truck, the 2012, at the 5-year level is going to be 10 years old when that loan is paid off. But it's still going to be worth a lot more than a 17-year-old truck, giving us a better option down the road as a trade-in value. Or you could try to get another 7 or so years out of it.
Okay. Is there any further comment from council this evening? Thank you. Okay. Oh, do you have a?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. To the question. Okay. Yeah, I think we're.
I'm next on the agenda anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we will move forward with a roll call vote for. Is this for Councilmember Brown?
So we have to decide, and I'm going to make a motion that we accept the chemical bank pricing and finance option for purchasing this vacuum truck.
And I'm going second.
Okay. Well, moved and seconded. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. So that's the way the resolution is written. So I think we're pretty much moving to accept the resolution as written.
Okay. So, seeing no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
And Mayor Brown.
Yes. Item E, request approval of wastewater treatment plant pump repair.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Before you should see an estimate from Kennedy Industries. We have a 6-inch portable pump that we use basically for bypassing one of our lift stations. It is also used for other things as well at the wastewater facility. We've had it's been in disrepair, so what we've done is basically wait until we have the new budget to work with, obviously, and ask for a quote on what they felt needed to be repaired. That estimated repair cost came to $4,980. As they got a little deeper into it, there was some additional repair work that they feel is going to be required to the tune of $915, which brings the total repair cost to $5,895. Thus, I am before you.
So is there any discussion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a resolution that goes with this vote? It exceeds the $5,000 limit, so I don't know if there should be a resolution.
Only if it wasn't budget.
Okay.
And it was not at this point. It was not a consideration in this year's budget also.
Okay. Thank you. I have one, I'm going to come back to that one question. So the pumps that we're discussing, I know when, was it Fleece and Vanderbrink made the presentation and they had about the wastewater treatment plant, but are these the pumps that are sitting like in the room on the floor, like kind of green? Are these?
No, this is a portable pump you hook to a truck.
Okay.
primarily it was bought for bypassing Star Commonwealth Lift Station because there's no secondary electrical source there. So if we lose electricity out there, we have to go out, hook this truck or this pump up to it, bypass that lift station as it's coming in and pump it into our system.
Okay. Back to that. So, so there was there a resolution draft?
Was there what?
A resolution draft.
Not that I'm aware of, not that I was requested to draft, but I mean, I think the way that the ordinance reads is that the expenditure requires council approval, doesn't necessarily say you have to have an ordinance. I mean, the council does have to vote on the expenditure. Whether or not you do it through a resolution is up to you, but you do have to vote to approve it for her to expend money that isn't in the budget.
Okay.
Or that was, I should say, that wasn't budgeted specifically.
Okay. And just for the purpose of the resolution would be to have documentation for an exact number, but that could be, but that could.
Just so that there's a record that it was approved.
But for right now, that could be part of the motion to include the actual amount, verbally.
Sure.
Yeah. Councilmember French.
I would consider the inclusion of this bid as a friendly amendment to my motion to approve the wastewater treatment plant pump repair.
Is there it's a motion, it's an amendment. Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
Okay, moved in seconds of discussion. Councilmember Spicer, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make certain that there is money for the additional dollars, correct?
I should add, because of the amount of work that's going to be done to it, we expect the life expectancy of the unit to be extended about 15 years, which enables us to capitalize it over a period of years. So you're not going to see a big hit all at once with it. It'll be capitalized.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And this comes out of which fund? Do you know which fund?
I'm sorry?
Which fund?
It'll come out of the sewer fund.
The sewer fund. So just a comment, if I may, Mayor. Thank you. I don't have a problem approving this purchase. But I do not want council to get in the habit of doing things outside of what we normally do in practice, and we normally have resolutions to approve things and make policy. So I just want the record to reflect that that's how I feel about this. But I don't have an issue with the item itself. Thank you.
I guess my major thought process behind it was that it did exceed the $5,000 threshold, and it wasn't something that we specifically budgeted for, and that's why I wanted to come to council and get that approval.
Councilor Brown.
If I may, thank you, and I appreciate that. I do. You did what you were supposed to do. I just know that normally this would be voted on and accepted in the form of a resolution, and for us to do that any other way is outside of what we normally do and what we know to be common practice. So, thank you.
So, any further discussion? This is to this is the amendment to add I guess the quote here as part of and the amount in the quote as the document that we're voting on. So there's been a motion and a second to that amendment. We'll do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
And Mayor Brown?
Yes. So the main motion has been amended to include this amendment to include the quote from Kennedy Industries, and now we're going to vote on the main motion if there is no further discussion. Okay. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
And Mayor Brown.
Yes. Future agenda items. Councilmember French.
We have to readdress council rules.
Yeah, so I was going to make it.
So let's not escape after the meeting, the three of us, so we can schedule a time when we can meet.
Yeah.
And then also, we had turned down the intergovernment agreement regarding the Albion Marshall Connector. I'm wondering if we could bring that back with a more full council. And so I'd like to be able to have that on the agenda as well.
Okay. Is someone supporting that?
Support.
Okay.
We're gonna have to talk about application and license fees for marijuana facilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to set the value, don't we?
Okay. One of the things I mentioned now, so I'm abiding by the rules so far, but I was able to speak with Attorney Smith, and he sent the presentation notes with annotations, so I'll be distributing that. And but when I was talking to him, he, I said, well, I think the council was impressed with the presentation, and asked him, well, would he be willing to potentially help us with the council rules? And he signaled, interested in that if the city was interested. So what I'd like to do, and I'll talk to the manager when she gets back, and see, how that could be integrated and how that could look, because one of the things I noticed is that the council rules that we adopted, I think he actually had a draft. So there's like a little change in what he was, the section that we were going to add as an amendment is based on, I guess, the penultimate version. So especially around section Rule 8. So we can discuss that after, but I just want to make sure I put that on the agenda as a potential approval of having him work with the Rules Committee, the Procedures Committee, I guess, Council Rules and Procedures. Are there any other future agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to motion to excuse absent council members. Councilmember Barnes.
So moved.
Did notify us. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay. And we will move to public comment this evening. Persons addressing the council shall limit their comment to 3 minutes, and we ask that you observe proper decorum. And this is just general comment for the public. And please state your name and your address.
Good evening to the council. Vivian Davis, 901 Huntington Boulevard. President Dunklin, NAACP, asked me to announce that Founders Day will be held at Lewis Chapel on February 11th at 5:00 p.m. And the theme of the Founders Day is Making Democracy Work. The speaker for the occasion is Sharon Gay Donogo, who is the state representative of the 8th precinct, 8th district in Detroit. She has been here before, and the public is invited to this occasion.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment this evening?
Good evening. My name is Robbie Patterson, and I live at 412 East Porter Street, Albion, Michigan. My concern is that we don't have street lights on Porter Street. We only have 2. One is up there by the college where they blocked it off and put apartments up there. And the other one is down by the river where can't nobody see. And in my area where I live at, it's dark and you can't see anything and anybody. And my second concern is that when y'all started the to do the sidewalks. They came up there and marked the street and never came back. And they done been on one side of the street, the other side of the street, but never came on Porter Street. And I would like to understand why haven't they came on Porter Street? And my other concern is, why is my taxes so high and I haven't did any improvements? And on that, I live in that on Porter Street, and every year my taxes is high. They're in the wintertime, they're $861. In the summertime, they're $777. And I don't understand why they are that high, because I live in that area, and I guess what I'm saying, I'm the only African American lived up in that area, and my taxes is high, and with the way I am, I cannot afford those high taxes like that. Thank you.
Is there any further public comment? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Albion. Al Smith, 1209 Adams Street. I'm here tonight speaking for your wonderful local American Legion post. Just wanted to remind you that on Thursday night, we're having our annual chili challenge. The United States Navy, along with some other branches of the service, and our Albion Public Safety will all be putting on different versions of chili, and you all get to come down and vote as to who does the best. Of course, it will be the Navy this year, so just want to make sure you know that. That will go from that's going to go from 4 till 7 p.m. Down at the Legion Post. And then, not to go against the cardboard challenge, but on Saturday we also have a Veterans Town Hall meeting where we'll be doing presentations for veterans concerning any problems they may have with the VA or any new things that are going on with the Veterans Affairs Division. We encourage any veterans, their families, spouses, or widows who may be having questions or problems with the VA, please come down. That's what we're here for, is to help straighten that stuff out and make sure you get everything you deserve. Thank you very much.
Councilmember,
that will be 9 to 1.
Thank you.
Ma'am. I guess that was her question too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any further public comments this evening? Okay, if not, I'd like to ask our commissioner to come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Assistant City Manager Levin, City Clerk Domingo, residents of the City of Albion, and those folks watching this evening, good evening. My name is Gary Tompkins, and I'm your County Commissioner. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. I want to take just a few minutes to update you on a few items. Last month, if you recall, I made comment relative to the hepatitis A outbreak, how it was getting severe. And I'm here to report from last month that the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has now included Calhoun County as part of the ongoing Southeast Michigan hepatitis A outbreak. We at a recent county commissioners meeting approved a special project funding from the MDHS in the amount of $98,500 for targeted intervention and response activities. And this is a result. There are 5 recorded cases right now in Calhoun County, 3 in the jail population and 2 in the general civilian population. So as I will continue to say, the best ways to prevent this situation for yourself is to certainly get vaccinated or good hand washing practices. So this has become a very serious situation as we move forward. Also, just for informational purposes, at our recent Senior Millage Allocation Committee meeting this past Friday, we did approve the Albion Marshall Connector mini grant request, the amount of $3,000 for 2018, just for information. Also, too, my monthly newsletter is out. Everybody hopefully has had a chance to take a look at that, but if you're not on the email list and you'd like to be part of that, you can certainly email me. It's on the bottom of the form. Hard copies are also available at the Albion District Library. It's a great resource to know what's going on in and around the 7th District. And specifically in that newsletter this month, on page 4, provides a quick snapshot of the 2017 review as your county commissioner, which I'm certainly privileged and honored to be. It was an incredibly busy year with many successes and positive things, but as with anything, there's still a lot of work needs to be done. And also, I just want to point out, too, if there's, and I've indicated this before, if there's any federal grants that are outstanding at the city level, please let me know, and whatever I can do to assist and do that, because one of the things I was able to do when I went to Washington, D.C. in August is developed a lot of federal contacts, and I've used them on several occasions, so whatever I can do to help out and assist in any way I can, I'd be more than happy to do so as well. And then one quick thing as we go, as we talked about the Veterans Town Hall, which is at 9 o'clock. I'll stop there, but also hope to see everybody at the Cardboard Classic Sled Race, because this year I was asked and am honored certainly to be a judge this year at the Classic Cardboard Sled Race. So it's one honor, and I understand as I was driving in, it is snowing, folks, so that's a good thing, and it's only 12 degrees, so that's even a better thing. So we can keep that on there. So with that being said, unless there's any questions, it's always a pleasure to be with you folks each and every time I come. So thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further comment this evening, I'd ask for
Move to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you. How are you? Yeah.